I'm Ariana Hollis, and the book that I read was Izzy, Willy, Nilly by Cynthia Voight. The reasons why I read this was because my mom had recommended it to me, and when she was younger, she had read the book, and it kind of impacted her, and she was hoping that it would impact me as well, which it did. Izzy Lingard is your typical pretty, nice, very popular varsity cheerleader in high school. She is a sophomore, so it's kind of rare for a sophomore to be on the varsity team, but she's so good. This book is set in the present day 80s, and back then it was kind of a big deal to be asked out for any reason by an upperclassman, and a guy named Marco, he is a senior in high school, he asked Izzy to a party, and she kind of had second thoughts about it. She kind of had her doubts about this because she kind of knew a little bit about him, and he just didn't really seem like it would be a good idea, but because it was a big deal, she said yes anyways. At the party, Marco was getting drunk, and she didn't really want to seem like a baby and call her mom to tell her to come and pick her up because she was the youngest one at the party because it was a senior party. And so she let Marco take her home. And because of that, she was scarred for life. She and Marco were in a wreck, and he came out with scratches and bruises, and she came out with a broken leg, and she lost her other leg. What I liked about this book was that she seemed so brave, and she seemed like she was all right with everything, but she really wasn't. She would cry herself to sleep sometimes. And what I didn't like about that, though, was that because she said, "I'm fine, I'm okay," everybody was just fine with that. They didn't really care, and they didn't really want to know. They didn't really want to see that this is real. Another thing that I didn't like was that her friends and some of her family were selfish about the situation. They kind of made it more about themselves than her. Like her friends, Susie and Lisa and Lauren, they visited her, but then it was awkward silences the whole entire time. And that was very unlike her and her friends. What I did like about that, though, was that she realized who her true friends were and who her true friends were not. And Susie and Lisa and Lauren were not. And I like the part where Rosamund comes in, where she kind of pulls Izzy out of her slump because she was alone, because nobody would really talk to her and nobody would help her out. But Rosamund is a very different girl. They had never talked to each other before until this, and it was really good about that. The way that I felt that, and how she felt that her friends and family were thinking were, "You're broken and I don't want to play with you anymore." I would recommend this book to just about anyone, but especially realistic fiction lovers, because it is a realistic fiction book, and people who are driving and teens who are driving or have been driving or will be driving, I think that they need to read this book because it is very eye-opening, and it kind of makes you realize that some consequences with things that you do on the road, they can be devastating and they can just be too much.